Most of the world has simply accepted that eating healthy means expensive supplements, restrictive diets, and constant compromise. But in Japan, even the most ordinary breakfast is treated with a level of nutritional respect and wonder that makes the rest of the world feel decades behind. Japan consistently ranks among the highest for life expectancy. And it's not because of biohacking or trendy superfoods shipped from the Amazon. It's because of 11 everyday foods that have been quietly powering one of the world's longest living nations for centuries. Foods you've probably never heard of. Once you understand how Japan turned simple ingredients like fermented soybeans, pickled plums, and seaweed into a daily system for longevity, going back to protein powders and diet fads just feels wrong. Hi, I am Yuki. Today we're counting down 11 Japanese superfoods that should exist everywhere, because the innovation gap isn't just in Japan's technology, it's in what they eat for breakfast. Number 11. Tsukemono, the microdose of gut health. You know that feeling when you finish a huge salad and feel virtuous but also slightly miserable? Japan solved that. Tsukemono are Japanese pickles, tiny portions of fermented or brined vegetables served with nearly every traditional meal. We're talking about a few slices of daikon radish, some cucumber, maybe a bit of eggplant. Small enough to fit in a sauce dish, but powerful enough to completely change how your body processes the meal. The brilliance is in the system. Instead of forcing yourself to eat giant bowls of vegetables once a week, Japanese meals include these micro servings of fermented vegetables multiple times a day. Every breakfast, every dinner, always there, quietly supporting your digestion with beneficial bacteria and fiber. The crunch is satisfying, the tang cuts through richer flavors. And because they're fermented, they're doing actual work in your gut, not just sitting there looking healthy. Western culture treats pickles like an afterthought, a sad spear next to your sandwich. Japan treats them like a non-negotiable part of the meal. A small intentional choice that compounds over decades into something remarkable. Number 10. Okara, the protein no one wanted. Here's the thing about okara, it's technically waste. When Japanese tofu makers press soybeans to extract soy milk, they're left with this pale, crumbly pulp. Most factories around the world throw it away. Japan looked at it and thought, this is packed with fiber, protein, calcium, and potassium. Why are we wasting this? So they didn't. Okara became a staple side dish. It's sautéed with vegetables, mixed with hijiki seaweed, seasoned lightly, and eaten over several days. It's mild, slightly nutty, and absorbent. It takes on whatever flavors you cook it with. The texture is soft but not mushy. It fills you up without weighing you down. And because it's so high in fiber and low in calories, it's the kind of food that keeps you satisfied for hours without spiking your blood sugar. This is zero-waste nutrition. You'll often see bags of fresh okara in local markets for less than 100 yen, about 70 cents, because it's treated as a shared resource rather than a product. It exists because someone actually sat down and thought, what if we respected every part of the ingredient? Instead of engineering new superfoods in labs, Japan just stopped throwing away the good stuff. Number 9. Shiitake and dried mushrooms, the flavor bomb that replaces fat. Japanese cooking has this quiet superpower. It makes food taste rich and satisfying without drowning it in butter, cream, or oil. The secret is dried shiitake mushrooms. When shiitake are dried, their umami compounds concentrate into something almost magical. You rehydrate them in water, and that soaking liquid becomes a deeply savory broth that forms the base of soups, sauces, and stews. The mushrooms themselves turn silky and tender, with a meaty chew that makes them feel substantial. This is how Japan builds flavor. Not with heavy fats, but with ingredients that are naturally packed with glutamates, the compounds that make your brain light up and say, yes, this is delicious. Dried mushrooms also provide beta-glucans, B vitamins, and minerals. They're a cornerstone of Buddhist temple cuisine, where chefs create entire multi-course meals without any meat, dairy, or eggs. And somehow, it all tastes deeply satisfying. The West is still figuring out how to make healthy food taste good. Japan figured it out centuries ago with a bag of dried mushrooms. Number 8. Soba, the noodle that actually fits a longevity diet. Let's talk about carbs. The Western approach to healthy eating often treats carbohydrates like the enemy. Cut them out, fear them, feel guilty when you eat them. Japan took a different path. They just chose better carbs. Soba noodles are made from buckwheat, which isn't actually wheat at all. It's a seed. That means soba is naturally high in fiber, plant-based protein, and complex carbohydrates that digest slowly and keep your energy stable. In Japan, soba is often served cold with a light dipping sauce. No heavy cream, no butter. Just clean, nutty noodles with a delicate chew, dipped in a sauce made from dashi, soy sauce, and mirin. sometimes topped with a little grated daikon or green onion. It's satisfying without being heavy. You finish a bowl and feel energized, not sluggish. And because buckwheat has a lower glycemic index than regular pasta, it doesn't send your blood sugar on a roller coaster. This is Japan's version of pasta, except it actually fits into a diet designed for people who want to live past 90. If you are finding these solutions as delightful as I am, please tap the subscribe button. It helps the algorithm share Japan's unique logic with more people around the world who appreciate a more thoughtful way of living. Your support allows me to keep uncovering these hidden standards for you. Now, let's continue with number 7. Number 7. Yuzu, sudachi, and kabosu, the citrus that replaces calories. Japan has this category of hyper-aromatic citrus fruits that most of the world has never tasted. Yuzu, sudachi, kabosu. They're small, intensely fragrant, and incredibly sour. You don't eat them like oranges. You use them the way you'd use a flavor weapon. A squeeze of juice here, a bit of zest there, and suddenly, a plain piece of grilled fish or a bowl of noodles tastes like it came from a high-end restaurant. The genius is in what they replace. Instead of heavy dressings, creamy sauces, or extra salt, Japanese cooking uses these citrus fruits to add brightness, complexity, and satisfaction. A few drops of yuzu juice can make a dish feel complete without adding any significant calories. These fruits are also packed with vitamin C and aromatic compounds that make your senses wake up. The smell alone is enough to make you pay attention to what you're eating, which is half the battle when it comes to mindful eating. Western cooking tends to add richness through fat. Japanese cooking adds richness through aroma and acidity. It's a completely different logic, and it works beautifully. Number 6. Amazake, the probiotic drink that tastes like dessert. Amazake is one of those things that sounds too good to be true. It's a traditional Japanese drink made from fermented rice and koji mold. It's naturally sweet, creamy, and thick, almost like a smoothie. And depending on how it's made, it's either non-alcoholic or contains barely any alcohol at all. The sweetness doesn't come from added sugar. It comes from the fermentation process, where the koji breaks down the rice starches into natural sugars. The result is a drink that tastes indulgent, but is actually full of beneficial enzymes, B vitamins, and amino acids. In Japan, amazake is often enjoyed warm in the winter as a cozy, comforting drink. Some people drink it cold in the summer. It's marketed as a beauty drink, an energy drink, and a digestive aid, all at once. The texture is smooth and satisfying. It feels like you're treating yourself to something special, but you're actually giving your gut a dose of probiotics and your body a gentle energy boost. This is Japan's answer to the protein shake, except it's been around for over 1,000 years, and it doesn't require a blender or a scoop of chalky powder. Number 5. Matcha, the focus drink the world finally noticed. Matcha is one of the few Japanese superfoods that actually made it to the West, but most people still don't understand why it works the way it does. Matcha is powdered green tea, the whole leaf, ground into a fine, vibrant green powder. When you drink matcha, you're consuming the entire leaf, not just the water it was steeped in. That means you're getting all the antioxidants, all the catechins, and all the L-theanine in one concentrated shot. L-theanine is the magic ingredient. It's an amino acid that promotes calm focus. When combined with the natural caffeine in matcha, it creates a smooth, sustained energy boost without the jittery crash you get from coffee. In Japan, matcha has been part of tea ceremonies for centuries. It's treated with reverence, whisked carefully into a frothy, bright green drink that you sip slowly and mindfully. The West turned it into lattes and Instagram posts, but the core idea remains. Matcha gives you energy and focus in a way that feels clean and intentional, not frantic and desperate. Number 4. Seaweed trio. Let's talk about the original multivitamin. Seaweed is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. It's packed with iodine, calcium, magnesium, iron, fiber, and antioxidants. And in Japan, it's not a trendy superfood you buy in expensive packets at health food stores. It's just food. Everyday, unremarkable, always there food. Nori is the seaweed wrapped around sushi. Crisp, slightly salty, with a delicate ocean flavor. It's also eaten as a snack, toasted, and lightly seasoned. Kombu is the thick, leathery seaweed used to make dashi, the foundational broth in Japanese cooking. It's simmered gently to extract its umami-rich flavor, then removed. You don't even eat it most of the time, but it's doing all the work behind the scenes. Wakame is the soft, slippery seaweed you find in miso soup. It rehydrates instantly, adding a silky texture and a mild, slightly sweet flavor. Together, these three seaweeds form the backbone of Japanese cuisine. They're in soups, salads, rice dishes, and snacks. They're so embedded in the culture that Japanese people don't even think of them as superfoods. They're just food. And because seaweed is so rich in fiber and minerals, it helps regulate blood sugar, supports thyroid function, and promotes gut health, all without anyone making a big deal about it. This is what it looks like when the healthy choice is just the default. Number 3. Umeboshi, the salty plum that powers Japanese workers. Umeboshi looks like a small wrinkled plum. It tastes like a punch in the face. These are Japanese plums that have been pickled in salt and aged until they turn intensely sour and salty. A single umeboshi is about the size of your thumb, and it's so strong that most people only eat a tiny piece at a time. But that tiny piece does a lot of work. Umeboshi is traditionally eaten with rice or tucked into onigiri, rice bowls, as a natural preservative and flavor enhancer. It's also used as a digestive aid and an energy booster. Japanese office workers keep umeboshi at their desks and eat a small piece when they're feeling sluggish or need to reset their focus. The sourness wakes you up, the saltiness replenishes electrolytes, and there's something about the intensity of the flavor that forces you to be present and pay attention. It's not subtle, it's not Instagram friendly, but it works. This is Japan's version of an energy shot. No caffeine, no sugar, just a salty, sour plum that's been doing its job for over 1,000 years. Number 2. Miso, the soup base. That's actually medicine. Miso is fermented soybean paste. And if that sounds boring, it's because you haven't tasted it yet. Miso is made by fermenting soybeans with salt and koji mold, sometimes for months or even years. The result is a thick, savory paste that ranges in color from pale cream to deep chocolate brown. The flavor is rich, complex, and deeply umami, the kind of taste that makes your whole body relax and say, yes, this is exactly what I needed. Miso soup is a staple of Japanese breakfast, a simple bowl made with dashi, miso paste, tofu, and wakame seaweed. It takes 5 minutes to make, and it gives you protein, probiotics, and a warm grounding start to your day. But miso isn't just for soup. It's used in marinades, dressings, glazes, and sauces. It adds depth and richness to vegetables, fish, and grilled meats. A spoonful of miso can transform a bland dish into something memorable. And because it's fermented, miso is full of beneficial bacteria that support gut health. It provides all 9 essential amino acids, B vitamins, and antioxidants. A tub of high-quality miso costs about 500 yen, or less than $4, and lasts for weeks. While the rest is obsessed with expensive probiotic supplements, Japan simply eats miso soup for breakfast. It's a standard of care that makes a luxury pill feel like a clumsy solution to a simple need. Number 1. Natto, the sticky breakfast that divides the world. Here it is, the most polarizing, most misunderstood, and possibly most powerful superfood in Japan. Natto. Natto is fermented soybeans, but calling it that is like calling a thunderstorm some weather. Natto is sticky, slimy, pungent, and covered in long, gooey strands that stretch between your chopsticks like something out of a science experiment. It smells strong. It looks strange. And the first time you try it, your brain will probably say, absolutely not. But here's the thing. Natto is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. It's packed with protein, fiber, and probiotics. But the real star is vitamin K2, a nutrient that most people don't get enough of. Vitamin K2 supports bone health by helping calcium get to where it needs to go, your bones, not your arteries. It is the hidden reason why you'll often see 90-year-olds in Japan moving with a level of energy and posture that seems almost impossible. This isn't just about a health study. It is about a nutrient-dense choice that people make consistently, over decades, because they respect their future selves as much as their morning meal. Not because natto is magic, but because it's a nutrient-dense food that people eat consistently, over decades. In Japan, natto is a breakfast staple. It's stirred vigorously to make it even stickier, then mixed with soy sauce, mustard, and green onions. It's eaten over rice, and it's considered completely normal. The taste is earthy, nutty, and savory. The texture is an acquired experience. But once you get past the initial shock, natto becomes something you crave. It's satisfying in a way that's hard to explain. Your body just knows it's getting something good. This is the food that separates the curious from the committed. The food that makes you realize Japan isn't just thinking about what tastes good right now. They're thinking about what keeps you healthy for the next 50 years. Natto is the ultimate test. And if you can learn to love it, you've unlocked a level of nutritional wisdom the rest of the world is still trying to figure out. These 11 foods aren't exotic superfoods flown in from remote jungles. They're everyday staples that Japanese people have been eating for generations, quietly, consistently, without making a big deal about it. The innovation isn't in discovering new miracle ingredients, it's in building a food culture where the healthy choice is just the default, where fermented foods, seaweed, and whole grains aren't wellness trends. They're just what you eat for breakfast. Small, intentional improvements, repeated daily, compounding over decades into a life that simply works better. If you want to see more discoveries from Japan that should be global, go ahead and subscribe. because once you see how Japan handles the basics, going back to the old way just feels wrong.